My name is Charles. I remember the day when I felt so small. I was in a big room filled with people. They were all speaking in English, and I didn't understand much. I felt alone, like no one could see me. But I wanted to change that. I wanted to feel strong and smart. That was the day I decided to learn English. At first, it was hard. Every word seemed like a puzzle. I made mistakes, and sometimes people laughed at me. I felt like crying, but I did not give up. I thought of Amelia, my best friend, who always said, "You can do it, Charles. Just keep going." Her words were like a light in the dark. They gave me hope. As I started learning English, I noticed something amazing. It was like I was opening a door to a new world. I could talk to more people. I could read books and understand songs that I loved. My world was getting bigger, and so was my heart. I met a girl named Olivia. She was shy and didn't talk much. But when I spoke to her in English, her eyes lit up. We became good friends, and I felt so happy. One day, I was talking to my friend William. He was upset because he couldn't find a job. He said, "Charles, I wish I could speak English like you. Maybe then I would get a good job." I told him, "William, English is like a key. It can open many doors. Just start small and don't stop." He smiled at me with tears in his eyes. That day, I felt like a hero. I remember James, who always felt nervous when he spoke to new people. He would look down and stay quiet. I gave him a tip. I said, "James, when you speak, look into the other person's eyes. It shows that you are confident and sure of yourself." He tried it, and slowly, he started to change. He was not just learning English, he was becoming stronger inside. Speaking tip 1: always speak slowly. When you speak slowly, people understand you better, and you feel more confident. Speaking tip 2: practice in front of a mirror. It feels silly, but it helps you see how you look when you talk. It builds your confidence. One night, my friend Daniel called me. He was crying. He said, "Charles, I feel so alone. No one understands me." I told him, "Daniel, English is not just a language. It is a way to share your heart with the world. Let's learn together." "You are not alone." We talked for hours, and by the end, he was smiling. Joseph, another friend of mine, once said, "I want to travel the world, but I am scared because I don't know English." I told him, "Joseph, English will give you wings. It will take you to places you have never dreamed of. Just start speaking, one word at a time." Speaking tip 3: record your voice and listen to it. It will help you understand how you sound and where you need to improve. Speaking tip 4: learn one new word every day. Use it in a sentence. It's a small step that makes a big difference. My friend Ava was very smart, but she always doubted herself. She said, "I don't think I can ever speak good English," I told her. "Ava, it's okay to make mistakes. Each mistake is a step towards becoming better. The more you practice, the more you grow." Emma, who was always so kind, wanted to help others. She started teaching English to little kids in her neighborhood. She said, "Charles, I feel so happy when they learn something new from me." Her smile was like sunshine on a rainy day. Speaking tip 5: use simple words when you talk. It makes your message clear, and people understand you better. Speaking tip 6: watch movies in English with subtitles. It helps you learn how people speak in real life. One day, my friend Robert was feeling sad. He said, "I feel like I will never be good at English." I looked at him and said, "Robert, remember the first day we met? You could not even say a single word in English. Look at you now. You have come so far. Never stop trying." Speaking tip 7: read out loud. It helps your mouth get used to the words and makes you sound better. Speaking tip 8: join a speaking club or a group. Talking with others helps you learn faster. Michael, who was always so quiet, started talking more. He said, "Charles, speaking English makes me feel different, like I can do anything." I saw a new light in his eyes, a light that was not there before. Speaking tip 9: listen to English songs and try to sing along. It's fun and helps with your pronunciation. Speaking tip 10: find a friend who speaks English well and talk to them often. They can help you when you make mistakes. John, my friend who always loved to read, started writing his thoughts in English. He said, "Writing helps me think better. I feel like I can express my true self." Now I saw how English was changing his life, just like it changed mine. Speaking tip 11: use a dictionary app on your phone. It helps you learn new words anytime, anywhere. Speaking tip 12: practice speaking every day, even if it's just for 5 minutes. Small practice leads to big results. David once told me, "Charles, I feel so small when I can't speak English." I said, "David, English is like a friend. The more time you spend with it, the closer you become. You will never feel alone again." Speaking tip 13: think in English. It might be hard at first, but it helps you speak faster and more naturally. Speaking tip 14: be patient with yourself. Learning takes time, and it's okay to go slow. Frank was my neighbor, always so cheerful but shy when speaking English. One day, he came to me and said, "Charles, I wish I could speak like you. People would listen to me more." I told him, "Frank, English is like music. You just need to learn the rhythm. Let's practice together." We laughed and made mistakes, but every mistake was like a step forward. Speaking tip 15: don't be afraid to make mistakes. Mistakes are your best teachers. Every mistake means you are trying and learning. Speaking tip 16. Start with short sentences. Simple words make your speech clear, and you gain confidence with each word you speak. I remember George, who always wanted to tell his story but didn't know how. He said, "Charles, I have so much to say, but the words don't come out right." I gave him a little notebook and said, "Write one word every day, George. Just one word." Soon you will have your story. His eyes filled with hope, and I knew he was ready to start. Isabella, my friend, was different. She was strong on the outside but soft on the inside. She told me, "Charles, I want to inspire people, but my English is not good enough." I said, "Isabella, your heart speaks louder than words. English will only help you say what you already feel. You can do it." Speaking tip 17. Practice speaking with kids. They are not afraid to make mistakes, and they will make you feel less nervous. Speaking tip 18. Use gestures when you talk. Your hands and face can help explain your words when you are stuck. Amelia once told me, "Charles, when I speak English, I feel like people don't take me seriously." I held her hand and said, "Amelia, your voice is powerful. The words you choose can change hearts. Just believe in your words, and others will too." Speaking tip 19. Speak with a smile. A smile makes your voice sound friendly, and people will want to listen to you more. Speaking tip 20. Listen to English podcasts. It helps you learn how to speak naturally and understand different accents. One rainy evening, Paul was feeling very low. He sat on the porch with tears in his eyes and said, "Charles, I feel like I am failing. No matter how hard I try, English just doesn't feel right to me." I hugged him and said, "Paul, do you know what I see? I see someone who never gives up. Every word you learn is like a step closer to your dream." Sophia, who always wanted to travel, told me, "I want to see the world, Charles, but I am scared to speak English in front of strangers." I smiled and said, "Sophia, English is your ticket to the world. It will take you to places, help you make new friends, and share your story with everyone." Speaking tip 21. Practice with a partner who speaks a little better than you. They can guide you and help you improve step by step. Speaking tip 22. Don't rush when you talk. Take your time to think before you speak. It's okay to pause and find the right words. Arthur, a close friend, was once very shy. He never spoke much because he was afraid of saying the wrong thing. I told him, "Arthur, English is like dancing. You don't have to be perfect, you just need to enjoy the steps. Dance with your words and let them flow." Speaking tip 23. Keep a small diary. Write down your thoughts in English. Even simple sentences help you become better. Speaking tip 24. Ask questions in English. It shows you are interested and helps you practice speaking more naturally. One evening, I saw Donald sitting alone in the park. He was looking at his phone and seemed very sad. I asked him what was wrong, and he said, "I'm trying to get a job, but every interview is in English." I feel like giving up. I looked at him and said, "Donald, don't give up. Every no is bringing you closer to a yes. Practice with me, and let's make that yes happen together." Speaking tip 25: join online groups or forums where people speak English. It helps you get comfortable with different ways of speaking. Speaking tip 26: repeat what you hear. If you watch a video, try to say the words after the person. It helps you get the sounds right. Charlotte, who always believed in helping others, once said, "I want to make a difference, Charles, but my English holds me back." I said, "Charlotte, your kind heart is already making a difference. English will only make your message stronger." Speaking tip 27: surround yourself with English. Read signs, watch shows, and listen to people around you speaking in English. Speaking tip 28: focus on listening. The more you listen, the better you understand how to say the words and how they fit together. Thomas, my cousin, told me, "Charles, my biggest dream is to study in the USA. But my English is not good enough." I told him, "Thomas, your dream is bigger than your fear. Let's work on your English together, and one day you'll get there." Speaking tip 29: use English in your daily life. Order food, talk to shopkeepers, or chat with friends in English. Speaking tip 30: be brave. Speak even if you feel scared. The more you do it, the easier it gets. I watched as each of my friends grew, their voices becoming stronger and their hearts more open. English was not just a language to them, it was a bridge that connected them to their dreams, to each other, and to the world. I will continue this story soon. There are more moments to share, more tears to wipe away, and more smiles to celebrate. Keep believing in your journey with English. It's not just a skill, it's a way to touch hearts and change lives. Let's walk this path together. Sarah was a young woman who had a big dream. She wanted to speak English well. Sarah lived in a small town. In this town, people only spoke Spanish. Sarah tried hard to learn English, but it was difficult for her. She could understand many words, but she could not speak them. Every time she tried, her tongue felt heavy, and her words came out wrong. One day, Sarah got a letter. It was from a company in a big city, asking her to come for a job interview. Sarah was happy, but also scared. She knew the interview would be in English. Her heart started to beat fast, and her eyes filled with tears. She said to herself, "How will I talk? What if they laugh at me?" Sarah's mother, Maria, saw her crying. Maria came and hugged her tightly. "You are brave, my dear," Maria said. "You can do this. Just believe in yourself." Sarah packed her bag and went to the big city. She took a long bus ride. On the bus, she thought about her future. She remembered her mother's words, but her fear did not go away. She looked out of the window, trying to calm herself. When Sarah reached the city, she saw tall buildings and busy streets. She felt very small. People were talking everywhere. They were speaking in fast English, and Sarah couldn't understand. Her chest felt tight, and her hands started shaking. She thought, maybe I should go back. But then, Sarah remembered her dream. She wanted a better life, a good job, and to make her family proud. She took a deep breath and decided to stay. The next morning, Sarah put on her best clothes and went to the company. Her legs felt like jelly, and her heart was racing. She entered the building and saw many people. They all looked confident and spoke perfect English. Sarah felt like crying again. A lady at the reception asked, "How can I help you?" Sarah knew what she wanted to say, but her mouth didn't work. She tried to speak, but no words came out. The lady looked at her, waiting. Sarah felt embarrassed. She pointed to the letter in her hand. The lady smiled kindly and said, "Ah, for the interview. Please wait here." Sarah sat down and thought, why can't I speak? I know what to say, but my mouth won't say it. Tears filled her eyes, but she wiped them quickly. She didn't want others to see her cry. After a while, her name was called. Sarah stood up. Her knees were shaking, but she walked to the interview room. There were two people inside, a man and a woman. They smiled and asked her to sit down. "Hello, Sarah. How are you?" the man said. Sarah's heart was pounding. She opened her mouth but only said, I. She couldn't finish the sentence. The woman looked at her with kind eyes and said, "It's okay. Take your time." Sarah tried again. I understand. Can't speak, she said slowly. She was afraid they wouldn't like her. Her eyes were wet with tears. She felt hopeless. The man and woman looked at each other. Then the woman said, "It's okay, Sarah. We can see that you understand. Let's try something different." She asked Sarah some simple questions and gave her time to answer. Slowly, Sarah felt a little better. She answered the questions with simple words. The interview ended, and the woman said, "Thank you, Sarah. We will call you soon." Sarah left the building. She felt a mix of emotions: sadness, fear, and a little hope. Days passed, and Sarah waited for the call. She couldn't sleep. She kept thinking about the interview and her mistakes. One day, the phone rang. It was the company. Sarah's hands were shaking as she picked up the phone. "Hello, Sarah. This is Linda from the company. We are happy to tell you that you got the job," Linda said. Sarah's eyes filled with tears again, but this time they were tears of joy. She thanked Linda again and again. Sarah started her job. Every day she faced new challenges. People spoke fast English around her. Sometimes she felt lost. Sometimes she felt stupid. But she didn't give up. She listened carefully and practiced speaking every day. She wrote new words in a notebook and repeated them at night. One day, her boss, Mr. James, called her to his office. "Sarah, you are doing great. But if you need help with English, let me know," he said kindly. Sarah was grateful, but she felt ashamed. She thought, "Why can't I be like everyone else?" A few months passed, and Sarah became friends with a girl named Emily. Emily was very kind and patient. She helped Sarah with new words and talked slowly. Sarah felt comfortable with Emily. She didn't feel afraid to make mistakes. One evening, Emily invited Sarah to her house for dinner. Sarah was nervous, but she agreed. When she reached Emily's house, Emily's mother welcomed her warmly. They all sat down to eat. Emily's family talked and laughed, and they tried to include Sarah in the conversation. At first, Sarah felt shy and spoke very little, but Emily's family was patient. They waited for her to speak and didn't laugh at her mistakes. Slowly, Sarah felt more confident. She tried to say new words, and even if she made mistakes, they all smiled and encouraged her. Sarah felt happy and accepted. Sarah's journey was not easy, but she kept going. She cried, she struggled, but she also learned. She understood that speaking a new language takes time. It's not just about knowing words, it's about courage and practice. Years later, Sarah became a manager at the company. She still made some mistakes, but she didn't let them stop her. She spoke with confidence and kindness. She remembered how hard it was at the beginning, and she helped new employees who were also learning English. One day, a young woman named Anna joined the company. Anna could understand English but couldn't speak it well. She was nervous and scared, just like Sarah was before. Sarah smiled at her and said, "Don't worry. I understand. I was like you once. You will be fine." Anna looked at Sarah with tears in her eyes and said, "Thank you." Sarah felt a warm feeling in her heart. She had come so far, and now she could help others. After Sarah helped Anna, she couldn't help but think about her own journey. She remembered the nights she cried, feeling lost and frustrated. Now, She was in a position to guide others, and that made her proud. She knew that Anna would also have her struggles, but Sarah was ready to be there for her, just like Emily was for her. As days went by, Anna often came to Sarah for help. She felt safe with Sarah. I understand what they say, but when I try to speak, it all gets mixed up, Anna said one day, almost on the verge of tears. Sarah nodded with a gentle smile and said, "That's okay. I felt the same way. Let's take it step by step." Sarah and Anna began meeting during lunch breaks. They practiced small conversations. Anna often made mistakes and felt embarrassed, but Sarah always reassured her. "It's normal," she said. "The more you practice, the better you will get." One day, Mr. James asked Sarah and Anna to present in a team meeting. Anna felt a wave of fear rush over her. "I can't do it," Anna whispered. Her hands were shaking, and she felt like she couldn't breathe. Sarah remembered those same feelings of panic, and she placed a hand on Anna's shoulder. "I will be with you," Sarah said. "You are not alone." The day of the meeting came. Sarah and Anna stood in front of their team. Sarah began speaking with confidence. She introduced the topic and then nodded at Anna to continue. Anna's heart was beating fast. She felt like running away. But then she looked at Sarah, who gave her an encouraging smile. Anna took a deep breath and started to speak. Her voice was shaky, and she stumbled over a few words. She felt everyone's eyes on her, and for a moment she froze. Sarah noticed and gently said, "You're doing great. Just keep going." Anna looked at Sarah and found the strength to continue. She finished her part of the presentation. It wasn't perfect, but she did it. When the meeting ended, Mr. James came up to them. "Good job, both of you," he said. Anna's eyes filled with tears, and she quickly wiped them away. "Thank you," she whispered. Later that day, Anna hugged Sarah and said, "I couldn't have done it without you." Sarah felt a deep sense of happiness. She realized that her struggles were not just her own, they were part of a journey that connected her with others. Time passed, and Anna's confidence grew. She still made mistakes, but she didn't let them hold her back. Sarah watched Anna's progress with pride. It reminded her of her own growth and how far she had come. One day, Sarah got a call from her old friend, Emily. Emily's voice was full of excitement. "I'm coming to the city for work. We should meet." Sarah felt a rush of emotions. Emily was the person who had been her anchor during her toughest times. Now, Sarah was eager to meet her and share her story. When Sarah and Emily met, they hugged each other tightly. Emily looked at Sarah with wide eyes. "You look so confident," Emily said. "Tell me everything." Sarah shared her journey, from the difficult days when she felt lost to the moments of small victories. She talked about Anna and how she found joy in helping her. Emily listened with tears in her eyes. "I'm so proud of you, Sarah," she said. "You've become a strong and kind person." That evening, as Sarah walked home, she felt a deep sense of peace. She thought about her mother's words, her fears, her mistakes, and her victories. Every emotion, every tear, and every smile had led her to this moment. One day, Anna came to Sarah with a big smile. Guess what Anna said, her eyes shining with excitement. "I got promoted." Sarah felt a surge of happiness. She hugged Anna tightly. "I knew you could do it," she said, her voice full of pride. Sarah had learned that understanding was more than just knowing words. It was about empathy, kindness, and patience. She had faced her fears, found her voice, and helped others do the same. But Sarah's journey wasn't over. She still had dreams to chase and people to help. She knew there would be more challenges, but she was no longer afraid. She had found her strength, and she was ready for whatever came next. Sarah's story continued, and so did her growth. Every day was a new chapter, and every person she met added something to her journey. She learned that communication was not just about words, it was about connecting hearts. The end of this chapter was not the end of her story. It was just the beginning of a new adventure. Sarah was ready to face the future with courage and kindness, and she knew that no matter what happened, she would always find a way to understand and be understood. Would you like to keep going? There's always more to explore in Sarah's story.